My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, today's special guest zooming in from Amsterdam is Robert Newstead. Robert is a very experienced American real estate financier, real estate investor, you name it when it comes to money and real estate. Robert has been involved. So these days, he's very involved in actively doing deals. But for the last 20 plus years, he's also been very, very involved in helping finance deals for active real estate investors. So Robert, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, so I can't remember the time difference, but I'm thinking, it's 1 o'clock my time, must be 9, 10 o'clock at night your time. So thanks for staying up late.
It's 10 p.m. here. Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem. I still do a lot of work on the West Coast, so this is a normal day for me.
I'm thinking it probably is. All right. So Robert, very, very cool that you're in Amsterdam. We were talking off camera that this has kind of been a lifestyle choice for you. I don't blame you one bit. Wife and I were just in Amsterdam a few months ago. Absolutely loved it. Beautiful city, that's for sure. Beautiful country. So yeah, I can see why you're there. But to give us a little snapshot on the real estate side of things, what does business look like for Robert Newstead middle of the year, or actually getting into Q3 already almost in 2025? What are you up to?
So I've been pretty active on a number of different fronts, and this year has been seeing a lot of clients who had maturities of loans. So I've actually been working on a lot of commercial refinances this year.
Yeah. So challenging times for some clients, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen a number of deals, and I'm typically middle market. So mostly when I'm doing on the commercial side is between 3 and 50 million on the loans. Mm-hmm. And I go higher. Earlier this year, I was working with a client who had a $100 million acquisition in 2022. And he had 85% financing with the first loan and also with the pref. So about 15 million of common equity. And really just after everything that happened with the inflation and then with interest rates, it's made it extremely difficult. So the common's really not getting anything. And, the pref equity was having some issues. And even the senior had rolled to a floating rate loan. And so, there are some tough situations. But on the other hand, I just closed a deal last week with a client, and we were able to do a cash out refinance on that transaction. So part of it depends on where your leverage was previously, where your rate was, how much you've grown the NOI. So that's one area I've been focused on. I've also been heavily focused on finding deals. And so I have a two-pronged approach to investing. And the first one is that I do direct investing. And that will be investing on my own with my family. It'll be with friends and family. I also invest with my clients as well. So we do partnership deals together. And then in addition to that, my partners and I do real estate syndications in multiple locations around the country.
And so you kind of do joint ventures and you do syndications on the active side of things. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's absolutely correct. And that's morphed quite a bit. We've done all different types of assets, from apartments to hotels and kind of everything in between, self-storage and retail and mixed use and office and medical healthcare properties. So it's been a fun ride. And I'm looking forward to doing more deals because I am starting to see opportunity again. So that has been an exciting thing right now.
What are you going to focus on opportunity-wise moving ahead? Because you've got an interesting perspective. You're not only an active real estate investor, you're also the finance guy. So you get to see what a lot of other people are bringing to the table. So where do you see yourself going as the active guy, given current market situations?
Yeah, I think given current market situations, I'm really focused on workforce housing. I think one of those, for a while, we were seeing a lot of oversupply in a lot of the markets. And I think some of that started to burn off. So now I'm starting to see opportunity there. The challenge has been, the expenses have been very inflationary on the multifamily side. So real estate taxes have increased, insurance has increased, the utilities have increased, repairs and maintenance costs and CapEx, just to name a few, have all gone up over the last few years.
Well,
And
what about Mr. Trump kicking out a lot of the workforce from places like Texas and California and heavily Latino type areas? Any fallback from that?
not at this point, but
Mhm.
most of our multifamily now is in the Pacific Northwest and the
Ah,
Midwest. It's a little bit different market, so I
mhm.
haven't had that firsthand, but I have heard rumblings of that from clients who are concerned about that.
Yeah.
And candidly, I mean, I don't do politics. I do money and I do real estate, but at the same time, you do have to be aware of these things because
Mhm.
those policies can really impact the country. And I view in migration and immigration as something that we need to keep the population at its base and growing. And so
Mhm.
I am more pro immigration done the right way. But that's just my personal stance.
Well,
And
yeah, it
so
just makes sense from a real estate perspective, taking all emotional type political affiliation and everything out of it. Yeah, it just you need more people coming in order to keep demand going up, right? So
that's 100%.
yeah.
And then the second prong of the investment side is that I do a lot of LP investing or co-GP and also some investing right now where we're looking at doing fund of funds with
So LP investing
sponsors.
mean you as an LP or you bring LPs to the table, limited partners.
So it's a little bit of both. I've done
Hmm.
I've done both in the past. I've done co-GP deals where I bring in friends and family into a separate, single purpose vehicle, and then we come in as a larger LP. And that's something I'm looking to make more programmatic in the future with a fund of funds, but not doing it in a fund structure, but doing it still as a single purpose vehicle and just doing it deal by deal. I'm not the fun guy. I think I'd rather do deals that I believe in with sponsors that I know, like, and trust, where I've vetted the entire deal. And I don't want to be in a blind pool for the most part.
So what I'm hearing, I think, Robert, is that you're the money guy, right? So you've been doing this for many, many years. You can help active real estate investors get financing for their deals, like institutional type financing, first position mortgage type stuff. And then you're
Correct.
also on your side, you're in the acquisition side of things as well. And what you bring to the table there is also capital, but your own capital, family capital, and raising capital, so to speak, for other people's deals. Am I understanding that correctly? So you kind of go
That's
in.
100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So as
and
far as,
and it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, is there anything else that you do with these, or is it really just focusing on the financing side of things?
No, I mean, I'm an active participant in all the deals as well. So I actually am on all the calls with partners. We talk about leasing strategies, we talk
Mhm.
about financing strategies, we talk about operations. I just don't do the day to day. I
Mhm.
think I think you hit the nail on the head though. I mean, I've done a lot of my partnerships and my investments piggybacking off of my career in
Well, it
finance.
just makes sense, doesn't it?
It
That's,
absolutely does.
and
Yeah.
it's bring huge value to the table because I mean, if you could help with not only bringing capital to the table, but maybe helping to arrange underlying financing as well, that's huge, huge value.
I think so. And I think one of the things I've done, and I think I fell into it by accident at first, but it was really partnering with good people who were good operators on the day to day.
Hmm.
I learned pretty early on. I was doing some of my own fix and flips and foreclosures and leasing of my single family residential properties. And when I got the call that, one of my tenants needed to unplug their toilet, you can't get mad, but at the same time, I was like, really, come on, go buy a
Yeah,
plunger, right? And so I,
yeah.
I,
You
I
you
realized
got
I
sick
was
of
not the right guy.
you got sick and tired of those 3 a.m. plug toilet telephone calls. I hear you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So, I mean, so what little success I've had here is a lot of it's been with the people I partnered with as well. And so I've seen
yeah.
that.
So, Robert, given the situation that multifamily is going through right now in the States, what are you guys focusing on more these days as far as acquisitions and asset classes and things that you're looking at?
Right. Yeah. So, in addition, I am looking at multifamily. So, even though some of that's happening, I'm starting to see, at least in some parts of the country, that there's some, readjustments on pricing, which is getting a little exciting. But I'm
Yeah.
also really focused on demographics. And so I'm looking at what's happening with the aging population. And I've been more focused on some retirement housing
Mm.
and also on medical properties, medical and healthcare. And since we are also a retailing nation, I know retail in the past has kind of been a four-letter word, but we're still actually seeing some pretty strong demand in a lot of properties in different parts of the country, especially where you have good
That four letter
demographics.
word is shop.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, well, okay, that's so where do you see you and your company going over the next 12 months or so? What are your goals or directions that you're going at? What would you, if you wave that realistic magic wand, what would you like to accomplish?
Yeah, I think I would like to be buying a number of deals right now over the next 12 months that are in that workforce housing, the medical healthcare, last mile industrial, and maybe some strategic retail,
Hmm.
and doing that in certain parts of the country. So I am predominantly focused right now on still the Pacific Northwest and some of the mountain states, the
Hmm.
Midwest, and then the Southeast in particular. And so those are the markets where we have direct teams where we're looking to make some more inroads on properties there. On the LP side, it's really about the sponsors. And a lot of the sponsors I partner with are in markets where I'm not as active and but I still want diversification to those markets. So that would be, you know, the Northeast, some of the Mid-Atlantic, and even partners in the South and Southeast, where you know the Southeast has got a big, dense population with a lot of job growth, a lot of in-migration in those markets. And I know I can't cover everything, but I have some very strong sponsors that I've worked with over the years that I know, like, and trust, and that I'll be investing with as well. And that's where I hope to bring the fund of funds model to some of my investors and future investors who want to participate on a deal by deal basis in those transactions.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. So speaking of investors, now that you're in the beautiful city of Amsterdam, it's a little harder for you to go have lunch with somebody, have a coffee meeting with somebody like that. What are you finding working well for you these days for creating new investor relationships?
Yeah, I think for new investor relationships, a lot of it has been word of mouth with existing
Yeah,
relationships.
for sure.
And and also I do a lot of outreach on LinkedIn right now.
Ah,
So on LinkedIn, I get a lot of conversations with people. I'm fairly active on writing on LinkedIn as well.
hmm.
And I just do that. I'm at a place now where I also want to educate. And so I'm putting some of the ideas out that I'm working on. And I have those conversations there. And then a lot of times we'll jump on a Zoom and do those calls. When I get to the States, which is actually more often than you'd think, I still travel quite a bit.
Hmm.
I'll sit down and I'll be meeting with people. Every
Oh, there
trip
we
I
go.
go on, there's someone I meet with. So it's kind of how it works.
Oh, that makes sense. So I admire what you've done. You sounds like you've set up a wonderful lifestyle for yourself and your family, and you're still keeping very, very rooted in what you're up to in the States and keeping your ear to the ground, so to speak, for that. No, that's fantastic. So,
Yeah.
Robert, yeah, as we're wrapping up the call, maybe tell us, if people would like to connect with you and find out more about what you're up to and maybe have a conversation, what's the best place for them to do that? Where should they go?
I would say definitely reaching out to me on LinkedIn is the best place. You can reach out to me. I'm at Robert Newstead on LinkedIn. And so I can send you that link as well. And I know you have it already, but I can send it to you so you can put that in the chat for people as well. And I'd be
Oh yeah,
happy to connect.
we're connected on LinkedIn, so no worries there. Speaking of LinkedIn, as we just kind of wrap things up, Robert, what do you find works best for getting investor conversations going? Do you have any tips for people? Because a lot of people tuning into this are in the capital raising side of things as well. Always looking for tips around that. What do you find works best for you on LinkedIn these days?
Yeah, well, on LinkedIn, I don't do a lot of cold outreach. Most of what I've been doing has been warm outreach. And
Mhm.
so I would say that is probably the biggest tip I have is if I don't have a direct connection with someone, I will actually talk with people who I know who do have a connection with that person and just see if it's worth the chat. And that has worked well. I've had a lot of conversations that way.
So
And
basically, getting
it
an introduction, is that what I'm understanding?
getting an introduction. I think
Yeah.
a cold outreach. I mean, a lot of people will connect on LinkedIn, but to go that step further as well, it's a lot easier if someone knows you and or can vouch for you. But at the
Hmm.
same time, I do have some of those cold conversations as well. But I think it just takes building a relationship over time
Yeah.
with the colder contacts.
Yeah. Getting those recommendations is definitely a very, very smart idea. And what's kind of your methodology or your rhythm for content on LinkedIn? Because I've heard all sorts of different things from like, hey, don't post more than once or twice a week, or other people are going post 3 times a day.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
what do
yeah.
you find as works best for you?
Well, interestingly, I pre-write. So I usually, in the first week of each month, I write a number of different short articles. And
Okay.
usually they're small enough and bite size. I used to write full length articles, and I was finding that I wasn't getting much traction there, and it wasn't really doing much for me. But then I started writing shorter kind of tidbits, ideas around funds, ideas around IRRs, ideas around equity multiples. And
Hmm.
then it started a conversation a little bit more, and then I started working in some of the lifestyle choices as well with, living abroad, but also being an investor. And I always say, I mean, you mentioned earlier about keeping my ear to the ground. I mean, the US is really the main market I focus on. There are some markets I work on in Europe as well,
Hmm.
but the majority of what I'm focused on is the US. The US is just, from my perspective, the easiest place to do business and
Hmm.
to also have investments where you have 50 states that you can work in that effectively have similar laws and similar tax laws with such a large growing market. So it's
Well, now
extremely
you got a whole
dynamic.
new perspective now that you live in Europe. You can kind of see how challenging it could be in other areas.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Yeah.
yeah, and so I think that's been working for me is writing that. But I post 3 times a week,
Hmm.
and it's usually smaller snippets, and then sometimes I'll do a short video as well, just to talk about a concept. And then I also have a little framework for my investing. So I do try to tell people about what I'm trying to do with my investment thesis, and then I like to get my different differentiation method or
Hmm.
diversification method, so that you get diversification by asset type, geography, and also sponsor. And then I've kind of switched around leveraged equity into an equity leverage model
Hmm.
where I think it's important to sprinkle your net worth around multiple deals. If you've got a
So
hundred
basically,
thousand dollars,
you're educating people little bite-sized chunks of information. So
a
it's really very educational based content.
absolutely,
Yeah,
you're
smart.
right. And then I have a reinvestment loop that I call the AIR method, which is, analyze, invest, reap, which is either sell or refinance, and then also take those cash flows as well, and then reinvest those. And so
Nice,
that's my reinvestment loop as well. And so I educate on that as well because
nice.
I,
Yeah, you have
I think it's
your
important.
own little kind of unique twist on thing, and you talk about that on. Yeah, smart, good stuff.
Correct.
Awesome, Robert. Well, I'm sure people do. So check out what Robert's up to on LinkedIn. Again, that's Robert Newstead. He's smiling guy with the hoodie on LinkedIn. You can't miss him. Awesome, Robert. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you on the next one. Hey there. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.